o inga hawe wha tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Let me first of all acknowledge our kamatua Alan, tēnā koe Alan, and thank you for taking the time to be with us and share our Diwali, and for the work that you do down there in Papakura. Alan, thank you. I'd like to also acknowledge Mr. Das, and thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Das, for the work that you do in leading your community here in Auckland. Good that you were able to be with us tonight. To my good friend and colleague, Dr. Rajen Prasad, who does an excellent job for the Labour Party. How many festivals now, Rajen? And there's a few more to go. You've lost count. He's lost count. Good man. And then, of course, my good friend, Mr. Ian McGeeckie, who's here with his lovely wife, Glenys. Ian, of course, has been a former Manukau City Councillor for many years before it went out of existence, and of course now serves us on the Otara Papatoetoe local board. So Ian, thank you for the work that you do in representing our people in the wider Auckland area. To my Indian community, let me first acknowledge your culture. Namaste, namaskar to you all. And then in the culture of the tangata whenua, the people of our land, there is a chant of attention and welcome which begins whakarongo ake ahau, ki te tangi ate, a manu nei ate matui, tui, tui, tui a. It literally means listen carefully to the deep currents of our community, the past, the present and perspective. And behold the bird who sings, and weave, unite all things into a powerful and hopeful sense of the possible. Diwali is one of the most auspicious festivals for you all over the world. And your Indian community in New Zealand is long-standing, and it is wonderful to see the celebration of Diwali. It becomes such an important event in New Zealand's cultural calendar. The Indian community is making a significant contribution here in Papatoetoe to the numerous small businesses. And they, of course, are the locomotive of growth. They're the lifeblood of our nation, which make an enormous contribution to the economic growth of our community. So thank you. And knowing your love of cricket, I also watch with interest the rising fortunes of the Papatoetoe cricket team, due in no small part to the many young Indian players that we have now playing for us. And then of course there is the cultural significance of Diwali and other festivals, which adds to the richness of our diversity here in our community, and with it, it brings the strength. New Zealand and India have traditionally had a very close relationship, and it's been exciting to see these ties grow with time and stronger, especially in our own community. And I want to acknowledge the efforts and the dedication of our Indian migrants in making a new life and contributing to New Zealand society. India, the world's largest democracy, gained its independence 65 years ago. And its stature in the world community continues to grow, due largely to the grit and tenacity of the Indian people in bringing about an economic transformation of amazing proportions. And I'm proud to remind you that it was a Labour government that resumed diplomatic contact with New Delhi in the mid-1980s with the brilliant appointment of the late Sir Edmund Hillary. That was one of the defining moments that prompted me to stand as a Labour MP for Manukau. It is important that ethnic communities have their views heard, and that is why I want to thank you, our Indian community, for your service throughout the year here in Papatoetoe. I want to thank you for enlarging your community tonight by inviting your friends and family to celebrate with you. And we pray that on this evening, by our sense of unity and mutual respect across the many cultures in our regions, that we will confer a wealth of spirit upon our children, the children of our community. And what a special word that is. community. It comes from an ancient Latin sense that together we must serve. Community, together we serve. Not unlike the Māori with tātou tātou, where it means together, together. So may we continue to create the conditions whereupon our Manukau community can thrive. To encourage each of our young to strive to be all that they can be in service of their deepest spiritual beliefs, and to share all that they can. And to approach members of the many other different ethnic groups in our community with a sense of humility, mutual respect, and awe at the power of our respective spiritual beliefs. And it gives me great pleasure to let you know how much your community is valued in our multicultural community. I want to encourage you to continue to share your celebrations of your culture and heritage with all New Zealanders. We want to make New Zealand a place where diversity is valued and reflected in our national identity, as this adds to the richness of our society that we are building for our future generations to enjoy. I wish you a happy celebration this evening of Diwali. God bless.
We would like to thank our chief guest for his wonderful Diwali greetings to us all. And we would now like to introduce you to our next guest, who is Mr. or Dr. Rajen Prasad. Thank you.
Tuatahi kena whanau o tēnei rohe tēnā koutou katoa. Ena tau wata mai Fiji di sambula praka kuto kene. So tara na maramani teranga ta mai Fiji te ko ngana kapak. Oh sa te ko mai ke. Di sambula praka kuto kene. और भाइयों बहनों नमस्कार. To everybody on the dais, can I acknowledge you all? Kia ora. My good friend and colleague Ross Robertson, the local member of Parliament. Normally we have to apply for a visitor's permit to come to this part of Auckland. I didn't apply this time. My apologies. Because, you know, when we come to his electorate, he gets a bit funny. Because we don't live in this electorate. But nice to be in your electorate. And I want to acknowledge my Bhayaji, Mr. Harnam Golian, from Tangi Tangi. This man only looks young. He knew my father, and my father was a pioneer back home in Fiji. Mina bus driver by so with kola klanga. Konen na tamu ko to me kalka. Portonga sakla ko. Iya, taxi driver mana. Oyo tale taxi driver my suwa, mana Fiji. Sorry Ross, not translating for you this time. But Bhayaji, always good to see you. And can I acknowledge Mr. Mohanan and his whole team for organizing today. Now, my apologies for being late, but you know, there are so many Diwali functions these days. And we as Hindus must be very, very proud of that. Because Deepawali is one of our most important religious festivities. Every person in Fiji knows that. Kila, here. Back home in Fiji, when we have Diwali, everybody comes. You cook a lot of food, you have a lot of firecrackers, and you have a lot of fun. Diwali was one day nobody could tell us off. Because according to Indian tradition, if you told somebody off on Diwali, you'll be doing it all year. So we got away with murder on Diwali day when we were growing up. Every Diwali was special. Everybody lit diya, which is lamps, and we had a lot of fun. And here we are in New Zealand. I've been here 47 years, but I'm still a little boy from Watakola and from Suva. And New Zealand has been great to me over the years. And hopefully, you know, I've had a chance to kind of pay back a little bit, but you can never repay a country that educates you well, your school, your university, gives you great jobs. and now we have grandchildren who are Kiwis. So that's this country here. But as Hindus celebrating Diwali with our community and with other New Zealanders is a great blessing for us. By the time Diwali is over, I'll probably go to something like 15 Diwali large events like this and bigger, all over New Zealand and other parts, and all parts of Auckland as well. I've been to some events where there have been 50, 60,000 people have come. The event last week at Telstra was about 15,000, and there are some more big ones still to come. And I've been wondering, what does it mean that now in New Zealand we celebrate this major religious event in this way? It reflects to New Zealanders how it is diversifying. It reflects to New Zealanders our culture and tradition, our food and our music, and our spirituality. But it also reflects to us as Hindus the fact that New Zealand gives us the space to celebrate cultures like this that are ours. And I want to acknowledge particularly, yes please, go on, go ahead. Acknowledge New Zealand. But I want to say something particular to my brothers and sisters from Fiji. You know, we know if we're Indians from Fiji, we're pretty special. Kei wata nahi? Yeah. I say the same to my Fijian brothers and sisters as well. There's something special about us because we speak a slightly different language. We do some things differently, and we talk a little differently. And the great thing about us from Fiji is that for us to make the step to New Zealand is not a big step. It's actually quite a small step, both physically but also mentally. You know, it's very easy for us to live in this country, to adjust to this country, and to go back home whenever we want to. So something special between Fiji and New Zealand. And I do acknowledge the work of the Hindu Heritage Research Foundation that makes these kinds of opportunities available. I want to come to your meeting that you have, whenever you have. Please let me know when it is. I'd like to come and talk to you so I can learn a little bit as well. But the other wonderful thing is that we are able to teach Indians from India how to speak proper Hindi. सही है ना? आजकल तो इंडिया वाले भी फिजी स्टाइल बात करना शुरू कर दिया है. तो मैंने बख्शी ने हरदम बोलता है इनका फिजी हिंदी बहुत खराब है, तो उनका सिखाना चाहिए. So it's nice that we can learn that Shuddh Hindi from our Indian friends, Indian brothers and sisters, but we're also able to teach them that other Hindi that is very special to us. बात ही है फिजी हिंदी में बहुत मजा है. सही बात है. फिजी हिंदी में जो मजा है वो तो शुद्ध हिंदी में मजा नहीं है. And that's a great thing about Bhaiya ji, ठीक है ना? Oh, he's going to speak of it. So that's all I want to say. Thank you for having us. Thank you for organising this, all of you. And I know, you know, it's early days, but I hope they will go bigger and brighter. And whatever we can do, Ross would say the same, to support you in that we will. Thank you for having us. And for the 13th of November, deepawali mubarak ho.
Thank you so much for that wonderful greeting. We are now going to move on to our next guest, and I'll get better as we go. As you can see, it's going much smoother now. We're going to have Mr. Ian Magiki. Thank you so much.
I'd like to acknowledge Ross Robertson, the Honourable Rajen Prasad, Alan our Kamatua, Mr. Shiu Charan, and Shakika Devi Morganan. Other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen and young people. Thank you for inviting both Glenys and myself to be here tonight. And I thought that as this is the celebration of the 150th year since Pepe Taui was founded, we might dwell on some of the changes in the more recent years that have had an impact on our community. For those that don't know, Papatoetoe in those early days consisted of Hunter's Corner, which was a service station and a dairy and not much else, on the main road, and Papatoetoe, the town centre, located and served by the railway. In later years, Papatoetoe was surrounded by Manukau City Council. During those years, we have seen the former Papatoetoe City Council amalgamated with Manukau City Council, which in turn was amalgamated with Auckland Council. Each has had an impact within Papatoetoe. In the last few years, under Papatoetoe City Council, which was in about 1987, Papatoe Central School was rebuilt and the Ellen Brewster Centre constructed on the site of the former stadium built in the 30s. It was paid for from a dividend that Papatoetoe had with the airport in shares that the council held, and against the wishes of Manukau City Council, who felt it should be constructed in Manukau, we built it down behind us. Just before we became Manukau City, the Hunters Plaza was built, and we became a Papatoetoe ward of Manukau City Council in 1989. While most residents were opposed to the merger, we had to make it work, and after a period of time, a new indoor heated swimming pool was constructed alongside the outdoor pool built many years earlier. Under Manukau's policies, there were no charges for the use of the swimming pools and libraries. Facilities for the Rangers Netball Club and Papatoetoe Panthers Rugby League Club were built, and efforts were made to smarten up and refurbish the town centres. A direct link with the airport was created with the extension of Puranui Road, and the construction of State Highway 20 followed by the link with State Highway 1 in 2010. These highways reduced the high level of traffic and noise on our residential roads. We saw the Telstra Pacific Centre built to the south, and more recently Manukau City Council and the ASB Trust put $11 million into the Papatoetoe Sports Centre, a project which had been planned by the 10 groups currently using it for the last 10 years. It has won awards and is currently the concept on which future similar centres are planned. While this project was being undertaken, Manukau City Council was itself amalgamated and became part of Auckland Council, and as you know, we are part of the Otara Papatoetoe Board, which also includes the Manukau City Centre. As you know, this was not necessarily the choice of the residents, but again, we have to work collectively to make it work. The major emphasis during this period has been with passenger transport and better utilisation of rail. Bridges have been lifted and currently the lines are being electrified. New electric units are being built at the present time and are expected to be operational late in 2013. Papatoetoe was once known as the Garden City of the South, and your board have a desire to provide colour to our streets and gardens. Major plans for redevelopment of Old Papatoetoe are underway, including the straightening of the Wallace, Colmar and St George Street intersections. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge your culture and am aware of the huge contribution you make to our community. The colourful festivals you provide are something for all to enjoy. And I thank you once again for the opportunity of both Glenys and I to be with you tonight.